Well, we're walking into an elite team.
Recording in progress.
You look at every aspect of their team. They're very dynamic. They're physical, explosive pitch profile stuff from the starters and some of the guys they use out of the bullpen. So, we're walking into a situation that is as good as it gets in terms of the level of competition that we're staring at in their home facility. I've never been here before, so we have our little practice slot coming up here shortly, and look forward to getting out there. I mean, it's a great roster, great program, going to be a great environment. They're still in school, if I heard correctly, so that I'm sure this will be rocking and rolling. High profile players on the other side, so we've got to bring everything we have to have a chance here.
Linked, I guess, question about, do you have an idea? I know some of it's variable in a series like this, the pitching rotation going in, as what do you know going into the week?
I know all three of our guys are going to be in good shape. We wanted the three guys that have started, like how we would use those guys in terms of this thing may not get to the third game. So you have to prepare with every option you have based on your personnel. Probably in this case, more our personnel and their preparation than maybe what Oregon State has. Slice it.
Link, this is your I think first one before that. What's different about super regionals, park and it's hostile and all that?
Well, you really have to have tunnel vision, and there may be entering the competition less peripheral distraction in a roundabout way because we're here in a hotel. You're not at home with people getting to you and things that come up when you're at home. And for me, I'm not worried about the facility and the stuff that's going on in the field and the lightning and all of the other things that come up. So sometimes being on the road simplifies the process, but then when you walk out there and you feel like the world's against you in the venue, Knoxville and Starkville and clearly this, and I've had to deal with it in Chapel Hill. Those are some tough places to walk in, and the noise at different moments in the games, it's different. Like it's almost it's pulling against you a little bit than when you're at Hauser. It's working for you in some respects. But we build our systems, nonverbal and other things to manage playing when the volume doesn't allow ease of communication. You have to be able to play the game and coach the game and communicate even when the noise and the volume and things are against you at the timing of those aspects of it. So we build it for this. Does that mean it's easy? Absolutely not. But this isn't going to phase the systematic part of what we do. It doesn't mean the level of competition is not very difficult. I mean, that's a national championship team on the other side of it in all of those situations. But we're trying to build things for these sorts of series.
Coach, how difficult is it for you and your staff to not only be preparing for a super regional right now, but also the portal just opened this week? And how are you guys managing the roster? The roster obviously coming into Corvallis and then the portal happening around you at the same time.
To think this is where we've landed in college athletics and what we're dealing with right now is unthinkable. The timing of it, the last 4 years of this, I cannot tell you how hard this is. I cannot tell you the hours and hours and hours and hours. And yesterday and this morning, and I walked out of a room. We just have to get a separate hotel room where we can sit and watch video and phone call. And, we're trying to do scouting reports and look at things. And I cannot tell you the layers of difficulty of this and the timing of it. It doesn't seem like it could be worse. But the good thing is you are playing, and you're playing to win a national championship, and there's 16 of us left. And we got a really tough draw. It's a tough draw. If you want to have this conversation next year at this time, if we want to be on this interview, we have no choice. Like, you're trying to look at what we're going to lose. I mean, I hope we end up with the Golden Spikes winner. I hope these guys are drafted as high as they could possibly be drafted. We're going to lose a lot. So if you're developing and coaching and working and executing properly, there's going to be an exodus. Like, look at the guys that left last year. Look at what's going to happen in the draft this year. We have to try to continue this, but it is exhausting for us as coaches, staff, dealing with roster management and the fact that the rosters essentially in most of the sports flip 50% or more every year. I can't tell you guys how hard it is. And when you got into coaching, the way you manage things and the scholarshiping structure and the ability to not transfer, we've gone 180 degrees in the other direction. And it is what it is. There's nothing we can do to change it at the moment. We were hoping the House settlement ruling had come down. It looks like that's been pushed down the road for another few weeks.
Coach, wanted to talk to you about Miles Bailey from week one, getting him on campus to now, and
things that he's learned how to do. And we work really hard. You saw a snapshot of it at practice the other day. Like, these are hundreds of days of those reps adding up. So we hope that it helps. And I can't say enough about the growth in every area, the aggressiveness at the plate, the consistency with what he's doing mechanically, the progression at first base, runs the bases hard, thinks, works ahead of schedule for a freshman. I mean, this is a freshman. When you look at the numbers, anybody would take it, but to think this is an entering freshman, that's in a position to play for a national championship. We're in the Sweet 16, and he's been a standout performer during the toughest part of our season. It sure is fun, Allison.
to see it click too. How neat is that for you as a coach to see kind of those wheels turn and for it to click and for him to get it the way that he has?
Heck yeah, it's great. And the moments he's delivered, you can go back and some of the clutch hits that he's had. North Carolina, maybe a couple, the ACC tournament, Mississippi State, a couple hits in the regional, and you could just kind of backtrack this thing from what's happened in the last game, rewind the tape a little bit. He's owned the moment, and on top of the stats, like, to look at how timely some of this is, it's buried in good stats. But I think those of us that cover do recognize it. And it's why you coach. Like, you want to see these young men grow and leave your program as better men. And you want to see the baseball product become better for them too. And then you feel like when a player of that talent decides to come to campus and give it 2 years instead of maybe signing professionally, you do feel as a coach an obligation to make sure that product is better too, and he's positioned better for the draft. And I want to see these guys leave and go into professional baseball and function. And the Cam Smith stories, that's pretty cool that somebody thought that kid was prepared enough to go right to the major leagues. And I think you're going to see that more and more as players in college baseball bypass the draft a little bit. The draft is shorter, so more of them are on campus. And he's a great example of what happens when you get some training repetition, the practices that you've seen us do, and combine that with high-level games, and then you should have a better product at the end of it.
Link, jumping back, taking you back a little to the portal. I'm curious what you have in mind. What would there's no perfect solution, I'm sure. What would your solution be? Maybe aligning maybe closer with the draft deadline with the portal window? Because I know that's a whole other angle you didn't even get into, if you're managing that as you're adding portal guys who might not even make the campus.
Kurt, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I guess I've been in this situation for the last 5 years in these super regionals, and you feel like one of these is almost a once in a lifetime, and there is an obligation to try to stack good years. And if you whiff right now with the transfer thing, you're not going to be able to do this. If you back this thing up a week, does that clear the deck a little bit? These teams are trying to you're having exit meetings. Like, think about the exit meetings that are going on, the finality of college baseball, because school's out. So you get back from wherever you are, if you're at home and your regional ends, and you have 40 exit meetings. You know, some of them are going to be graduated players and juniors that are going to be drafted, but those are tough meetings. And then the portal, the opening of the portal, you know, the timing of that is just so difficult. And they're trying to leave campus. I don't know. I don't know if a week later would help. The combination of the NIL having no rules, like we really don't have any NIL guardrails right now. In all sports, you know, the timing of it, I don't know that there is a better time. Our Omaha experience last year, it revolved around trying to compete for a national championship, which is hard by itself, with the stuff that's coming at you in the portal. And sometimes you feel like there's people having visits and getting commitments, and there's people on campuses right now that have these portal guys already visiting, and you know, we're 2000, but it is not easy. If you pushed it back a week, is that better? Maybe. The draft used to be going on right now, right? The draft was usually in the first week of June, and then that thing during COVID got pushed way back. So, and what they're going to do, and then the draft occurs really during that. So,
or at least here in recent history, does that factor at all into, I guess, how cute?
Put a good team away and try not to get it to game 3. I think we might have done something like that with Whitaker last year, honestly, if I remember right. The back end of the second game, we had a decision to make. This is a 3-inning game. Do I want to play a 3-inning game right now to win it, or do I want to make sure I hold somebody for the final game? It seemed like, let's just play 3 innings and let's throw Whitaker and see what happens in this little 3-inning short game we have left. And let's try to end it right now. So I kind of, so what I think is best for our own guys.
Any other questions for Coach?
One other thing, Charlie. Coach, I almost hate to ask this, but I told you I'd ask you once a month. I know we're at the end of pretty much the season here. Any chance Cam Leiter puts on a Florida State jersey in the 2025 season? What's left of it?
It sure doesn't look like we're headed in that direction. We thought there was a chance, but there's a lot of high-level people involved in the care and the rehab, and there's certain benchmarks and steps that they want to see achieved, and we're not quite at that point yet.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Anything else for Coach from local media?
Thanks, Link.
Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.